A very good day to everyone. Thank you for tuning in. This is Riddhikum Taker, your host for today's episode of Smart Talks by Lincoln University of Business Management. Today we'll be talking about one of my favorite topics, roadmap to finding your path, balancing life, nurturing mental well-being. Welcome to the journey of self-discovery and well-being in a world filled with constant demands and challenges. Finding a delicate equilibrium between life's various facets while nurturing your mental well-being is definitely crucial. We have a very interesting guest with us today. With over 16 years of experience advising culturally diverse and inclusive high school and college students in the areas of best fit university guidance and careers, academic advising and financial resources, and social and emotional and well-being. Please welcome Ms. Katrina Watson. How are you doing today?
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm feeling amazing.
So did you get here all good and everything? How was your morning?
My morning's been amazing. I am super excited to be on this episode with you and to talk about all the wonderful things we're going to discuss today.
Exactly. It's one of my favorite topics, so let's get going.
Awesome.
So my very first question is, how can individuals begin the journey of self-discovery to identify their true passion and purpose?
Well, there's a lot of different things you can be doing, but I'm only going to touch on just a couple so people can really digest the information we're going to be discussing in each of our questions. But the first thing I want to say is, if you're looking to discover a little bit more about you, life is our journey, right? Life is our PhD. So you're going to keep learning about yourself as you go through each year of your life. But if you're looking for ways to essentially build on that, there's a couple key things that you can do. The first thing you can do is explore new activities. You know, when you're doing a new activity, it's either going to energize you or you're going to be like, no way, this isn't for me.
True.
So when you're doing something like that, it's going to be a learning experience. And as you put yourself out of your comfort zone, you're going to essentially figure out what you like and you don't like. You get what I mean?
Yeah, true.
So another thing that you can do is ask people that you're closest to for feedback. So people that care about you, that know your personality, they can always give you suggestions, especially when you ask for it. It's key to say, hey, what do you think about this? And the people closest to you will be probably very honest, and they'll give you feedback to encourage you or to give you some guidance on what to do next, to figure out who you are, what your next step should be, all of this.
Yeah.
Another thing is to maybe think about what made you happy when you were a child, right? So maybe it was dance, maybe it was trains, maybe it was a variety of things that along the way somebody told you, hey, this isn't going to make you money. So somewhere you gave that up. Maybe it's important for us as adults to revisit this and to revisit this experience of what made us happy back when we were a kid. And that can reignite a flame inside of us to essentially figure out what we're really passionate about and blend it somehow in our day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Another thing you can do is take a personality quiz.
Oh, I mean, there's so many online these days.
Exactly. I mean, there's, I don't know, a myriad of them. But the most common is Myers-Briggs, which we all know and we can easily Google. But there's lots of free options out there that can help you just maybe recalibrate and realign like what you're good at, or maybe give you ideas, because our personality does change with time.
Absolutely. You outgrow your old version. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you stay the same person forever, that means you're not growing. So
true. Exactly. Like if you ask me, like I just graduated and like I have a total different group of friends right now. After you graduate, like you move on from people, and I think it's a part of growth. So as you mentioned, feedback is really essential. Who's your person, your go-to person?
Well, this goes to my last point. Is getting a mentor or a coach or somebody that also can give you a non-biased perspective. I mean, our family loves us. They want to protect us. They want what's best for us.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, sometimes getting a third party where maybe you have to hire them, and that is an investment, but that investment is for you, right? So having a coach or a mentor can really catapult you to meet your goals, meet your dreams, figure out what's next. I mean, I've hired many mentors over my life for a variety of different things, and each one of them have been an amazing investment to my personal growth and professional growth as well.
Yeah, of course. So who is your go-to person?
Well, I have a mentor. She's somebody that I see every so often when I feel like I need that boost, or I just need someone to talk with. Because again, living here in Dubai, for example, my family's not close. And although like I want to lean on them for advice, let's say I want to start a business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go to my parents because they're not entrepreneurs. They're not business owners. I'm going to go to somebody who owns a business or has been through that experience.
Yeah. And who also has like the expertise in that field.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm going to identify a mentor. So my mentors change depending on what my goal is.
Yeah.
So again, if you are trying to figure out, your career path, maybe you're going to hire a coach that's an expert in careers and advising and things like this. Or if you're looking on improving your love life, you're going to go to an expert in dating and relationships.
Yeah.
So it depends on what your goals are and how you wish to evolve.
Yeah.
So in terms of our mental health and well-being, you might hire a therapist, and that's your third-party person, and that's your mentor and your confidant, where you can just open up, share everything, and essentially they're going to give you advice that might resonate with you or might not resonate with you.
Yeah, very well said. So moving on to my next question, which is really interesting. Can you outline key steps or strategy for creating a roadmap to guide personal and professional development?
Absolutely. So I'm going to give you 3 key things that I think your listeners can take away. The most essential things that I do and I think that are very effective is 1, set clear goals. If you don't know what's the end of your roadmap, I mean, we have a destination in Google Maps, right?
Exactly.
So if we don't put that destination and we don't even have a map to follow, right? So again, we need to have a clear goal, whatever that looks like, whether it's personally or professionally. And we need to understand, okay, what is my path to get there?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna have to then figure out, do I need new skills to develop to get to that goal? So let's talk about professional for a second. Maybe you have a full-time job and you love your full-time job. But again, we go back to the first question about identifying, key things that we want to improve on or revisit or explore. And let's say maybe you always had an affinity for cutting hair and you want to maybe have a goal about maybe opening your salon one day or just doing it part-time on the side.
Yeah.
What is your goal out of that? Those are 2 different goals, right?
Yeah.
So essentially, it's important to figure out what is that. And then maybe you don't have any experience with cutting hair, so you need to go get schooling and training in that.
You build your skill set around that.
Exactly. So you need to figure out what skills you need to achieve this goal. Maybe you just need a license. Maybe you need to figure out how to set up a business, all of these things. So again, you have to figure out what that looks like. And then the third thing is just checking in regularly. Am I meeting my goals? And am I far off? Am I on the right track? Am I ahead of my schedule? Am I behind? Again, these can be weekly goals, monthly goals, 3-month goals, and then so on, right?
Yeah.
So just checking in with your progress is key. So setting goals, assessing what skills you need, and then checking your progress.
Yeah, very well said. But coming back to assessing your goals, how do you do it? Like, what is your personal thing about assessing your goals?
Well, again, it goes back to how do I get there, right?
Yeah.
So you need to write down the steps. So like I said, you identify the goal. You need to figure out, do I need to go to schooling? Where do I go to schooling? How much does it cost? How much is the time commitment? All of that. So
Right from the scratch till the finish.
absolutely.
Right.
Write it down the old school way. Put it on a
Yeah,
Google Doc.
absolutely.
Put it in the notes in your phone. But you need to figure out what steps do I need to achieve. And if you don't know all the steps, there's research. There's people, again, go to somebody in that field. Reach out to somebody that might be affiliated with this goal and get their feedback and speak with them. Again, that's why you have a mentor. All these things are interconnected.
Wow, very, very insightful. So moving on to my third question. So there are 2 parts in this question. So I'll just say the first part of the question, which is, how can individuals achieve work-life balance in a world that often demands constant connectivity? And the second part of the question is, are there specific time management techniques or tools that you find effective in maintaining balance? So you can just answer the first one and then we can move to the next one.
Sure. So the first one I would say is you need to set boundaries, right? Like we have our personal lives and then we have our professional lives.
Yeah.
Some of us have contractual hours that we need to abide by in order to fulfill our work agreement, right?
Yeah.
So outside of those contractual hours are our time, and we need to keep that sacred. And a lot of people don't know how to disconnect from work. This is what I'm noticing, especially when you live in a certain city or a certain country, the work-life balance is not necessarily there. It depends on where you are in the world. Some cultures, they work all day long and then like they continue to work even well into the evening and then they get right back up and do it again, or they work on the weekends and they don't know how to separate, their personal life from their professional life. Some single people, let's just talk about single people, they just work because they think that that's going to help them get ahead because they don't have families to tend to or they don't have children to look after and they're just focused on their goals and their career. And so, again, it's important to be connected, but then you need to have boundaries.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I do is once I leave work, I close the laptop. I have my group WhatsApp groups archived on mute. These are key practical things.
Absolutely.
But when I'm at work, I'm connected and I'm plugged in, and my colleagues know that I'm available during that time. And of course, if it's an emergency, I'm going to be responsive, but most of the time it's not.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's not. And so people need to understand like what that actually looks like.
True.
And so if you are contacted outside of work or you have additional pressures and you feel like you can't meet the expectation, you need to be comfortable with saying, no, I'm sorry, I can't meet the expectation, but I can do it first thing tomorrow. And setting those boundaries, learning how to say no are kind of interconnected. But again, if you do feel the pressure, that's something personal. Each person needs to learn how to navigate that pressure that they're feeling from work. Maybe the boss is not understanding or they're a micromanager.
Yeah.
These things are a bit out of our control, but what's in our control is how we deal with it.
Even the environmental factors like around it talk about, oh my God, if there's something important that I need to address, but then you don't have the time and everything. Like there are so many factors which, affect your decision making these days. So as you mentioned, you need to learn to say no. That's like the key point. And many people don't be able to do that. So yeah.
Exactly. It's a skill. It's a skill. It takes confidence. It takes practice. Yeah. We're not confident in ourselves sometimes speaking up to our superior. And of course, there's an eloquent way to say everything, right? You're not going to just be like, no.
Yeah.
You're not going to give attitude.
Yeah.
You're going to say it in a professional way.
Exactly.
Everything is with best intentions. Everything is with professionalism. And of course, we know when is the right time, place, and manner for everything, right? So we're not going to just get emotional and say, no, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
You say it in a way in the right time to express.
And with the right person as well.
Exactly,
so,
exactly. So with that being said, it's also important to prioritize yourself. So again, it kind of is all interconnected when you learn to say no, when you learn to set boundaries, and you can take breaks at work, maybe your lunch break. You really keep that sacred to yourself, those 30 minutes or the 1 hour you get. And you don't work through lunch, you really take that time to recharge, and then you can come back and finish the rest of the task with the best of your ability.
Yeah.
So with that being said, it's also important to establish what I call work rituals. Okay. So one of the things I do first thing in the morning is I don't book appointments first thing when I arrive. I give myself 45 minutes to 1 hour just to settle into my desk.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's really nice. Yeah.
And I've been, it's funny. I learned this from one of my mentors many years ago when I was actually an undergrad student and I was doing like a college counseling part-time job. And she told me, she goes, I just need a few minutes to settle in every morning. This is something you should do too.
Really
you shouldn't
nice.
just book your appointments and be like, feet first.
Guys, I hope you all are taking down notes.
And so I to this day still adopt this work ritual. And another thing that I do is I take time away from my desk to eat. So I leave for lunch, and I don't leave the building, but I go to a different place. I leave my office, or if I stay in my office, I don't sit at my desk. I sit somewhere else in my office with my colleagues. So again, just changing it up, not being connected while you're eating, literally like eating.
It's
and
like
typing.
your zone. You don't want anyone to be there.
No, and that's kind of all interconnected to this idea of maintaining well-being.
Yeah.
So when we're establishing these boundaries, these rituals, and we're consistent, keyword consistent, it boosts our mood, it boosts our productivity. We're able to connect with others at work. We're able to come back and give our best later on in the day. So all these things kind of play together.
Yeah, very well said. So moving on to my next question. Why is it crucial to prioritize mental well-being in a pursuit of personal and professional goals?
Okay, well, this kind of goes back to what I was saying. So it's important for us to prioritize our mental well-being because it increases our productivity. When we're feeling good, we're crushing it, right? Like we want to, impress our boss or impress our teammates or go after a task and get ahead on it and say, I already did it. Yeah. Right? So we want to, again, be motivated. We want to feel good in our workplace. We want to show up and collaborate and we want people to also perceive us as, a happy person at work. We don't want to have a reputation where, oh, don't talk to her, don't talk to him, they're always in a bad mood. We don't want that. So it's very important to show up every day, give your best, And it's important to establish a good, strong well-being beforehand,
Yeah.
And some days our personal lives, can take over and we may not show up our best at work. And we need to let other people know, hey, this is what's going on. I'm dealing with something, I'm not feeling my best today. So communication is very key
Yeah.
when you're
True.
not feeling at your best.
Yeah.
And that goes to improving positive relationships with people. If you don't tell people what's going on, they're gonna assume things, or there's like I
Yeah.
said, they're gonna think you're moody or
Yeah, they're
you're
gonna
not.
overthink as well.
They'll
So
overthink
yeah.
things. Maybe it just gives off the wrong vibe. So again,
Communications,
communication
yeah.
is key.
True.
And then again, this also helps with your work-life balance. I think again, when we go back to the last few questions, it's just helping you establish the boundaries, the balance, and you're showing up as best as you can.
Yeah.
It also reduces the burnout.
Oh my God, that is like one topic which I really want to emphasize on. Everything, everyone goes through that, At the end of the day, you're just like tired and you're burnt out. So
Exactly. So which a lot of people face this and they don't realize it. It's kind of a silent thing because they're not aware.
yeah,
And then again, having a good well-being just fosters a really harmonious workplace at the end of the day. Your boss sees the value in you, you see the value in yourself, and it's a win-win situation for everybody.
yeah, very well said. Moving on to my next question, which is really interesting because I really want to know about this. How can individuals recognize signs of burnout and take proactive steps to nurture their mental health? Because I'll be very honest, I'm always burnt out. But I don't like emphasize on like the burnt out feeling. But like I know at the end of the day, after my 9 to 5, I go back, I'm like, I don't feel like doing anything. So how would you, as a speaker today, tell us how would you recognize it?
Well, it comes up in a lot of different ways. Burnout is going to manifest itself differently in each person depending on the level that they're at. It could look like physical exhaustion, emotional exhaustion, where
Yeah.
maybe you've been crying a lot or just really just restless, so you're not sleeping well at night.
True.
It can also look like you're just not performing well at work. You're just not
Yeah.
motivated. You're not meeting deadlines. So this is some of the ways it can play out. It can also be your negative outlook on life. Maybe just everything just makes you feel like crap and you just feel like, what's the point? Or you kind of get a bit cynical and demotivated.
True, absolutely.
Yeah.
So-
And then, people might see you as a bit irritable or moody. So again, it's all interconnected. Our
Yeah.
mood affects how others are.
Exactly. So when I come back home with a like grumpy mood, my mom will be like, "Listen, you left your office. You're with us now. That mood should not be defined at home right now." So then I try to calm down myself, and then, so yeah, I mean,
Yeah, she's
there.
establishing boundaries.
Yeah, exactly. So
She's
that's
saying leave your work at work.
true.
And of course it's important to have, an outlet when you get home after maybe
Yeah.
a bad day at work. We need that. But again, it's how you deliver that information. But some other key things that we can also notice about burnout is just neglecting our self-care and isolation. These
Yeah.
are things that I've been guilty myself when I'm in a bad mood, I maybe snap at somebody or I say things maybe how it could have been worded better, right? We all make that mistake of maybe taking our frustrations or our burnout on other people.
Yes.
And it's not their fault. It's not
Yeah.
their fault. And then sometimes when we're feeling bad, we just want to be left alone and maybe a little bit of a pity party. But it's the steps after that. How do you get out of this burnout?
True. Wow. Moving to my next question. What mindfulness practices or exercises do you recommend for individuals seeking to reduce stress and increase mental clarity?
Again, there are so many things that you can be doing. I mean, the list is really endless, and it really comes down to personal preference. We're all different. We all operate differently. We all have different worldviews and outlooks on how to manage mental health and tackle it and keep our own mental health up.
Yeah.
But some of the key things that are easy to do is just check in with your breathing. Are you breathing really fast, or are you chill? Are you relaxed? Are you able to breathe at a normal rate? Because again, when our heart rate's up,
You don't know, you don't realize.
you don't realize it
Yeah.
because the oxygen flow, the blood, it's not pumping to the brain properly. So again, we're not thinking clearly. We're not able to assess ourselves properly because we're in the thick of it.
Yeah.
So Again, sometimes just leaning back and taking a deep breath. These are just very simple things you can do in your chair at work or anywhere, really.
Yeah.
Even in your car, you can
Okay.
just take a deep breath and lean back. It's
Like
so
that.
simple.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
Okay. Yeah.
Even right now, I just did
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Right,
So,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Scanning your body. This is something easy, if you're feeling like something in your tummy, maybe it's anxiousness or you're feeling overwhelmed and you're not eating properly and you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable. Again, some of the things that I do is taking a walk,
Oh,
in a
yes.
place that I
Nature's
like,
walk.
a nature walk,
Absolutely.
you know.
It does help me.
It helps you
Yes.
ground so much. I mean, some people love greeneries. I
Yeah.
personally love going down to the beach,
Yeah.
catching a sunset, seeing the birds, feeling the sand, all of that, the
Yeah.
smell, it's all the sensory systems are being utilized. And so when we engage that and we take ourselves out of our head, we're able to be present in the moment and connect. Sometimes, when I'm in that space, I like to visualize something, or maybe I like to meditate. It just
Yeah.
depends. Again, we're all very different, but I also like to express my gratitude. I tell people how much I appreciate them. Sometimes I just send a text message like, "Hey, I was thinking about you, and I just think you're an amazing friend."
Oh,
And
that's
when
so nice.
when we do that, we're getting out of ourselves,
Yeah.
right? We
Yeah.
need to get
True.
out of our own pity party, and then I don't know. Maybe I'm a person that likes to boost others up, but it gets them a little bit of an adrenaline rush. Like, wow, they thought of me.
Yeah,
This is
absolutely.
amazing.
I would love to get a message like this from my friend one day.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we're all trying to help each other out, and then they might give you some positive reinforcement as well, and just say, "Oh, you're an amazing friend too. You're very loyal and trustworthy, and I'm so glad that we get to hang out
Yeah.
this coming weekend, and I can't wait to do XYZ with you." So again, these things, just expressing a simple gratitude about, whatever it is that you're thankful for.
Yeah,
I
true.
always like to, like I said, tell my family and friends that I appreciate them. I think that for me, that is the way I can always feel a bit better about my own well-being.
Yeah.
And last but not least, I used to do this. I don't do this as much, but it's journaling. Sometimes just writing things down, getting out of my head.
I've got like 8 journals, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like from like last year, I've just been writing. Even today morning, before I'd come here, I was just like writing, what is my goal for today? What are you going to look forward to and everything. So yeah.
And that's so
It just
good
helped.
to set your intention for the day and
Yeah.
writing it down. You're declaring what it is you want and how you want things to go. I think that's so key.
Yeah, true. Even for me, like another method that I personally do, I think being a Gen Z is I go to my car and I blast out loud music, rock or metal. I'm like sitting there like for 5 minutes, and then I transform the music, and the playlist just goes to like a calm music. So like there's a transformation. So all the thing which is in my head, I just let it out through music, and then I calm down myself, and then that's it. I'm back to my own version. So yeah.
Exactly. Even if you don't do any of these things, another easy, simple thing you can do is just watch something funny on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. It does
And
help.
just laugh.
Yeah.
Everyone says laughter is medicine. It could literally be anything. It could be a YouTube short. It could be
Yeah.
a TikTok. Something funny to get you laughing.
Like hyped up and back to your zone and everything. So
Yeah, I mean, laughter does release certain chemicals in our body to change our hormones and get us in a different headspace.
True. Wow, very, very well explained. Moving on to I hate to say this, but this is the last question for today.
Okay.
Why is it important for individuals to acknowledge and celebrate their achievements along the way?
Well, there's a lot of reasons, but I would say I'm going to go over a few. Okay. So, in order for us to celebrate our achievements, it needs to encompass all the things we've talked about already so far. But once we reach our achievements, big or small, it doesn't matter how small it is. As long as it's important to you, it's going to boost your confidence. It's going to boost your motivation to keep going and create bigger goals and set bigger opportunities ahead for yourself. You're also going to feel like you have a sense of purpose. Like you're doing something good in the world, right? So, for example, we're having this podcast, right? You're the host. You probably get some sort of satisfaction. You feel a sense of purpose. You feel like
Absolutely.
motivated.
Yeah. I'm
meeting
meeting such amazing human right now. I'm meeting you, so I'm definitely motivated for today.
Yeah, and it's going to motivate you to do the next episode and so on and so on.
Yeah.
And each episode you do with a new interviewee, you're just going to keep growing and growing and growing. So it's motivating you for whatever goal you have. So
Yeah.
again, it gives you a purpose, it motivates you, it gives you confidence, it improves your well-being because you're engaging with people, you're doing something out of your comfort zone, you're talking, learning, all of the above. And then it cultivates ultimately a positive mindset. You learn new tidbits from every person you talk to, and you adopt it into your own life. Maybe it's a message you need to hear at the right time. So again, you're doing this for a reason, right? So it motivates you to think about, okay, I've achieved so much just in the podcast sessions we've been doing, and it's causing me to think further. What's next? What's my next goal? And again, it goes back to the earlier steps we've talked about, the earlier questions you asked me. So at the end of the day, all of this comes back to a positive mindset about ourselves, our motivation levels, how we see ourselves, what we're bringing value into the world, because we all bring something valuable.
Absolutely. Everyone is here for a purpose.
Absolutely. And someone is going to resonate with what you have to say.
Yeah.
Someone is going to find inspiration in what you said, and they're going to adopt it into your life. And whether you ever meet that person or not, they're going to hear this exact podcast, and something I say or something you say is going to motivate someone. And so,
we're all here for a change.
Exactly.
So,
at the end of the day, you're helping someone. And I think that's what our main possible purpose is here, is to help others.
Absolutely. My last question, I know I said last question, but I keep on asking this question. How would be your way to celebrate your achievements? Like, what do you usually do? Let it be big, let it be small. What would be your way?
I share it with people I care about. I'm like doing a little happy dance, and I'm excited, and I'm proud of myself. And I always say it's okay to brag about yourself. People say bragging about yourself is bad, but I disagree with that. Especially, like I said, if you say it in an eloquent way, like, guess what happened to me today? You're not going to believe it, or maybe you will believe it. And you're excited, and people see the excitement. It doesn't come off as bragging. You sharing it with people. And again, you sharing your accomplishments motivates other people at the end of the day.
Absolutely. It was so nice to have this conversation with you. And there you have it. That's the end of a very interesting podcast. And in a world where we're trying to find our success, it's important to make sure that we're equipped with the technical knowledge to know where you find the right path. As she mentioned, right from start till the very end, it's all about you. It's all about the way you nurture yourself and keeping your mental and mental well-being absolutely well. So if you'd like to share your own experiences and ask any questions, feel free to connect with us at LUBM Middle East on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and we can continue this conversation online. Until we meet again, it'll be still Riddhikam Taker and keeping learning with LUBM Smart Talks, powered by Lincoln University of Business School. Thank you so much and have a great day.